living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right. With diet-free life, the health features lose by.
What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson. I am so happy. I am very excited for those of you who are here. I know you wouldn't be here if you didn't care. And I'm talking about caring about yourself, or maybe caring about family members, or caring about people that are within your midst. And today, in the presentation that I'm going to share, as well as the guests that you're about to meet, I would say every time I have this conversation, I feel like it's one of the most important shares, presentations, seminars that I've ever done. And I've done a lot of seminars over the years in quite a few countries, all 50 states. And about 6 months ago, I came in contact with a company that opened my eyes. And they opened my eyes to something that I can't avoid and say I didn't see it, because it's something that I've been hoping one day would even be possible. And it is. And so today in this presentation, my goal is to share with you useful information that you can use. And I'm talking about a beyond food as medicine approach. So in a very short period of time, I'm going to share with you how you can eat regular everyday food. Foods that you have in your refrigerator right now. Foods you have in your pantry. Foods that you can buy at a restaurant, a fast food chain, on your way to work, and make the most of that food by eating it in what we call fat burning combinations. So whether you're someone dealing with inflammation, or you're someone who is a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic and you want to do something about it, maybe you're living with high blood pressure and you know the negatives of high blood pressure as far as taking the medications for a long period of time. If you know what I'm talking about, you know that if you live long enough, you will experience dialysis. And once you are on dialysis, it's never a good thing. There are many people who are living with kidney challenges. Many people. Same as people who are struggling with fatty liver. And most of these people who have poor kidney health don't even know it. And many of them have no clue that they have fatty liver. I mean, case in point, if you went back to 1979, not one person in the United States or Canada was diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver. The only fatty livers that we were aware of then was the result of consuming alcohol. Today, non-alcoholic fatty liver is affecting about 50% of the adult population. 50%. And remember, 1979 was not that long ago. And in 1979, no one had it. So what has taken place since 1979? Well, we know in 1977, obesity rates since that time, every year continues to get worse. And along with that, heart disease, people dying of all-cause death more prematurely. So many things are bad. And it all goes back to our food. So I want to be a positive Robert today and not a negative Nancy. And I want to share with you what I'm excited about. And it all begins with food. Now, for those of you who are new to me, my name is Robert Ferguson. I am a nutritionist. I have written quite a few books over the years, currently writing a new book. I've served on many science boards. I still serve on the Presidential Task Force on Obesity. I serve on the board of the National Medical Association that's been around over 100 years. Most of the boards I find myself on, I'm the only non-physician. And I would say 25 to 30% of the people that I serve on these boards with become my clients, because everybody wants to be healthier. I want to be healthier. And today is no different. We're also going to touch on one other part, and we could talk about many things, but we're going to talk about autism. So I have 3 guests that will come on, and they will share their story, and it will keep it moving. But for now, I want to quickly kind of give you an introduction to the simplicity of what it looks like when it comes to using nutrition in a way that will help you not only lose weight, if that's the goal, potentially reverse your type 2 diabetes, put yourself in a better position with blood pressure, a great way of teaching kids how to eat so that it's a gift or a skill that they have for the rest of their lives, and put you in a place where you don't have to diet. You don't have to guess. It's just a matter of learning how to use food as your friend. And as the late, great Hippocrates once said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. We definitely have gotten away from that. He also said that all disease begins in the gut, and we're going to speak to that. So let's have fun. Take some notes. And if you want to get in touch with me or anyone who you see, we will make their information available to you. They all have websites, so you can contact them through their websites. And you can email me directly at Robert, Robert, at dietfreelife.com. So let's get into it. All right. There's so many places I want to start, but I'm going to start with a short little video from Dr. Andrew Wild. I met Dr. Andrew Wild in 2002. He is an amazing human being. He taught me a lot, and I continue to be friends with Dr. Wild. And he said something back in 2002 that is on this video that he continues to say today. And that is, we are not getting enough of this fatty acid called omega-3. And not just any omega-3, because I'm going to show you that. But we're not getting enough. And when you're deficient in omega-3, the same as if someone was deficient in vitamin C, you could have scurvy. If you're deficient in certain B vitamins, you could find yourself having a difficult time walking. Being deficient is not good. And we see that quite a bit when it comes to vitamin D3. Doctors now run tests on almost everybody when they go in for their annual checkups. And if you're deficient in vitamin D3, they see it, they inform you, and they put you in a position to do something about it. And many people are living a much healthier, more vibrant life because they are no longer deficient in vitamin D3. Well, that is not the case when it comes to omega-3. We are deficient in it, and it's essential, meaning you must have it to live. You can live and get minute amounts of it, but you don't thrive. And that is the focus of our Beyond Food as Medicine. So let's start off with this short video with Dr. Andrew Wild.
Significant nutritional deficiency in this population is omega-3 fatty acids. The amount of research accruing on the health benefits of omega-3 fatty acids is overwhelming, not just for physical health, but for mental health. I think you can't be in optimum health if you do not have adequate intake of omega-3s. Most of us are not getting enough.
And there you have it. So you may be thinking, okay, what does he mean by omega-3s? Well, we're going to get into that. But I want to show you what it looks like, how simple it can be when it comes to enjoying regular food and still getting the results that we're talking about. So let's take a look. This is what we call a fat burning meal. When it comes to a fat burning meal, the goal is that you want to eat foods in a certain combination, which I'm going to give you a short example on, with the proper proportions. And then as a result of that, you're able to optimize blood sugar levels, which then can lead to making improvements with weight loss and various levels of health, specifically with type 2 diabetes. You can eat the foods that you like and prefer. So I want you to use your imagination as I walk you through this. So on that plate, as you can see, there's chicken to the left. That's the protein. Now I could swap out the chicken and put in any protein source that I want. You may not like chicken. So I could put in meatloaf. I could literally put in bologna. I could put in wild salmon, or I could put in farm salmon. Now, the quality of the foods that you eat definitely play a huge role depending on your situation. But the first step is to get you to the place where you're eating regular foods that you can afford, that you have access to, but in a balanced way that is positioning you to optimize your ability to burn fat, but yet eat food and not feel deprived or restricted. So use your imagination, whatever protein you would want. If it's not chicken breast, it could be whatever protein source you can imagine. And a protein is anything that used to fly, swim, crawl, walk around, or if it had a face, to include soy. The second part is that you see that I have a white potato. Now that's what we call a fast carb. So that fast carb white potato could be a yam, it could be a sweet potato, it could be a purple potato, it could be rice, it could be pasta. Again, once you know how a food is categorized, it's just a matter of combining the foods in a way, as I'm demonstrating, to get the outcomes that you want. And then you can see I have broccoli. That's what we call a slow carb. Now I could take out the broccoli and put in black beans or pinto beans, navy beans. I could put in collard greens, mustard greens, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. Again, you would pull from that list. And then I added butter to my potato because the butter is a fat. So if you didn't want butter and maybe you're eating something completely different, maybe it's avocado or maybe it's cheese. And then you have your condiment, which would be mustard, ketchup, A1 sauce, etc. And eating food like this, whether you live in Memphis, whether you're in Hawaii, whether you're traveling abroad to Saudi Arabia, you pick the foods based on their categories and eat them in the right proportions and combinations, and you're able to get the outcomes that we've been able to demonstrate for years, making us evidence-based and clinically proven. And so as I go through some of these meals, and just to give you a snapshot, all of these meals are fat burning, right? So if you didn't want a fast carb like a potato or pasta, then you wouldn't. If you wanted to have this same slow carb food, whereas I have three different slow carbs here, then you could. That's totally up to you. A fat burning meal is a fat burning meal, right? So when I look at this burger, whether I'm eating this at Burger King or Whole Foods or Capitol Grill, the principles remain intact. You begin with your protein. I have a hamburger patty instead of chicken. Instead of a white potato for my fast carb, I have the top and bottom bun. Instead of broccoli for my slow carb, I have onions and tomatoes and pickles that fall into that category. And instead of butter on my white potato, I have cheese on my burger, which is my fat. This is a fat burning meal. I could swap out the cheese and I could put in avocado as my fat. Once you learn this, which takes about 7 days of learning and applying, then you own it. And then it's just a matter of seeing it through. And then you're able to eat regular everyday food in a way that's helping you optimize. Now, instead of going through a whole bunch of different fat burning meals, whether it's on a plate, in a bowl, or even making a smoothie, I want you to think about this. If you wanted to optimize the importance of omega-3 fatty acids, you could do it through regular food. It will be difficult, but you can do it, right? So if you want a good amount of omega-3s, that means the butter that you consume would be grass-fed butter because it's much higher in omega-3. If you wanted to maximize omega-3 and you decided, you know what, I'm going to get some edamame beans and snack on them. Well, guess what? They're really high in omega-3. If I'm going to cook eggs, I'm going to get pasture-raised eggs because they're much higher in omega-3. So the closer to nature based on the foods that you consume is a pretty good example that you're going to be getting an adequate amount of omega-3s. If you eat fish every day, that's a good way of getting omega-3s. If you eat fish multiple times a day, then you're definitely getting in omega-3s. Well, why is that important? It's very important. And one of the reasons why so many people are battling with various health conditions is because they are deficient in omega-3. That is the focus. So let me show you, give you just a quick example of what I mean by omega-3. Here's Dr. Andrew Wild. As you can see, he said that you can't be in optimal health if you do not have adequate intake of omega-3s. And most of us are not getting enough. The World Health Organization, the National Institute of Health, all agree that we are not getting enough of omega-3. And so it's very important for us to get it if we want to optimize personal health. Now, there's another omega called omega-6, which usually connected with inflammation. And many people are getting way too much of the omega-6, right? That's when you're eating seed oils and it causes inflammation. Now, you could do everything in your means to avoid seed oils, but you still must get an adequate amount of omega-3. And if you're not doing it through food, then you're going to want to do it through a supplement, which is what we're going to highlight today. So omega-3 is when you're reducing inflammation. Omega-3, when you have an adequate amount, your skin is better. Omega-3, you're sleeping better. I mean, it's mind-blowing what you're going to learn today as far as how you can improve personal health and well-being just by making sure you're not deficient in omega-3. So omega-6 and omega-3, we have this thing called a ratio, okay? The first number, like where you can see 3 to 1, okay? The 3 is for omega-6. The 1, that's omega-3. That's the safe zone. The World Health Organization says 5 to 1 or lower, which is great. Many scientists, to include myself and the company that I do work with, is saying 3 to 1 or lower. If you're above that, you're in the danger zone. That means increased risk of stroke, increased risk of heart attack, increased risk of all-cause mortality. We don't want to be 3 to 1 or higher. And 99% of all people tested in America and Canada are in the danger zone. We know this because 1.5 million plus tests have been done. I've done over 200 tests in the last 6 months, and no one is in the green zone. Everybody's in the red zone. But there's good news because we can get you in the green pretty quick. Here's one of my clients, Brett, who had lost 137 pounds. We gave him a test, and as you can see, the 43 instead of a 3, he's 43.8 to 1. He's out of balance and in the danger zone. We gave him the balanced oil, which is a supplement, to make sure that he was consuming a good amount of omega-3s. And after 4 months, which is the lifespan of a red blood cell, he is now in the green zone. And that means everything is better. Everything. So let me give you an example of what I mean by everything. Here's an example of a study that I pulled up today on autism. In this double-blind, randomized, clinically done study, the kids who were given omega-3 supplement, a quality omega-3 supplement, saw improvements that blew everybody's mind. And Susie, who's going to come on here, she's going to share a story of someone that she introduced to the balanced oil, and their kid has experienced that. Next, I want to just highlight kidney health because I'm seeing this a lot. There's study after study after study that talks about a quality omega-3 on how it is helping with kidney health. If I was on dialysis, I would be on this balanced oil. My concern would be how much is too much. I would not miss a day. If I was at stage 3 kidney failure, there's no way. And what we have seen is that people who become sufficient with their omega-3, we're seeing that the progression of their kidneys failing comes to a complete halt. Everybody needs this. Everybody. I would argue and debate with anyone, and I've definitely had a debate, not really a debate, let's say a conversation with definitely over 50 physicians in the last 6 months, quite a few cardiologists, and all of them were in full agreement with everything that I was saying. And more than half of those people are now using the balanced oil for themselves as well as for their families because it makes sense. And when you look at the studies and you just see how we're deficient in omega-3, it blows your mind. It's like, what is going on? Why don't more people know this? And so let me highlight what you can see right now. This is a study. And when you see that PMID, that's a citation, meaning if you copy that and you looked at any medical journal or the physician desk reference, you can pull up this study and see it for yourself. There's thousands of them. But in this cohort, when they were working with people who were having problems with their kidneys, they looked at a few things, not just one thing. And this is what they discovered in this randomized placebo-controlled trial. the outcome after 12 weeks, that's 3 months, 90 days, the supplementation of omega-3 improved inflammation. So if you want to improve your inflammation, meaning reduce it, then omega-3s with polyphenols is what you want. In this study, they also looked at renal function, and they saw major improvements. We didn't see anyone get worse. We only saw people stay where they were and actually improve. Then when they looked at cardiovascular parameters, that means they looked at cardiovascular health. And quite a few people live with cardiovascular disease. My mom lives with it. And they saw that the omega-3 helps. And we also know of all the other studies that when you have an adequate amount of omega-3, you have reduced risk of heart attack and stroke. And as I've been saying, 99% of everybody that you know is deficient in omega-3. We know it because of a test. Dry skin improved. They looked at their hands, they looked at their arms, and they had certain things in place in this study, and they saw that the skin was much moisture, had much more moisture to it. The skin improved dramatically, and I'm hearing that from clients. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. We all need this. Everybody that you know, there are people who are dying prematurely. And if you look at their life, and if you looked at the labs, you would see that they were deficient most of their life in omega-3. And when you're deficient, you become susceptible to other conditions that you don't want. And you can also see, lastly, when they looked at the skin improvement, the consequent symptoms of pruritus and those patients who were on dialysis, they saw improvement. They saw improvement, you guys. They saw improvement. So let me just show you real quick, and then I'm going to start bringing on some guests. This is one of those moments where I don't think I could sleep at night if I didn't work hard to start letting people know about this. I really can, because it's so important. And I'm blessed to be in a position where I'm part of a company and there's a product that they put years of work into and research to get it to where it became what it is. And in one of the studies, I have one that was done by these two professors in 2021 that demonstrated everything that has to do with metabolism. If you are consuming an adequate amount of omega-3 and polyphenols, the benefits from a metabolic standpoint are dramatic. You can't even compare it to anything. Your kids are deficient. They are. And when you learn about this, you also see, as I mentioned with autism, improvements with ADHD. They did a study with over 80,000 people in prison. Half of them got a placebo. The other half got a quality omega-3. After 1 year of taking it every day because they controlled their food, they saw a 39% improvement with behavioral actions. 39%. So poor activity by these prisoners was reduced by that much. That is significant. And that was done by the National Institute of Health. So at this point, you're thinking, okay, well, why hasn't my doctor brought it up? It's not part of the protocol. It's not. So let me show you. So this is what the product looks like. It has a combination of omega-3s that they get from fish. So all the products out there that are omega-3, they're not the same because they don't have polyphenols. 40% of the oil is made up of polyphenols. Polyphenols is like blueberries. You get that in blueberries and red bell peppers, where you see colorful fruits and vegetables. It works like an antioxidant and has many other protective qualities. And polyphenols naturally occur inside of the fish. So when you eat a fish right out of the water, you're getting omega-3 and you're getting polyphenols. But when all those other companies extract the oil from the fish through the distillation process, they don't get the polyphenols. The polyphenols in this product, they're actually getting from unripe olives. And then they fuse it together and they work together so that you get the real benefit of eating like like fish, real high quality omega-3s. Okay. I've gone way longer than I wanted to go on that. That's a little chart. And I'll come back to this as we move forward. So what I want to do right now is I want to let's bring on Sandy. And I'm bringing on Sandy right now because Sandy is a person who has been eating really well for years. She was a client of mine, a successful client. She was actually in one of my infomercial years ago. I was coaching Sandy, and I knew that Sandy had been on high blood pressure medication for 37 years. And this year, she's no longer on blood pressure medication. And the only thing that changed is that she started taking the balance oil. And she's real. So this is not an infomercial. This is if we were all at a big auditorium, I would call Sandy's name and pull her up on the stage. So imagine we're in a big auditorium. Come on up, Sandy.
Hello.
So Sandy, like, I mean, I don't know if you really realize this, but to be on blood pressure medication for 37 years, obviously you got on it at a young age.
Yes.
If you continue to be on it, like one of my family members I just discovered a couple days ago, we're one step from dialysis because the medication will eventually create that problem. So the fact that you're off and you're healthy and you're moving and you're eating right and you're taking this oil, my hope is that you didn't have that much damage done and that you're in a place now where you can thrive. So if you don't mind, kind of share with everyone who's listening, you know, like how long were you on blood pressure medication, which I mentioned, but go ahead and repeat it.
Okay.
And just tell me your story.
Yeah, I got on blood pressure medicine when I was 26 years old. My blood pressure always, even on blood pressure meds, was, 130s over 90. And that was being on medication. And it's kind of what I lived with. It's like, okay, my dad had high blood pressure and, they say it's hereditary. And I was on the meds and, lost a bunch of weight and still was on the meds. And, there's times where I went to the doctor and my blood pressure, was like 160 over 90. And, they said, oh, you got white coat syndrome. Well, after being on the balance oil, I started getting like dizzy and went and saw the doctor and they took my blood pressure and I was 116 over 68. And I went, no, that's not right. You got to do it again. And did it again, was 116 over 68. And I looked at the doctor and I said, what do I need to do to get off my meds? She goes, you want off your meds? I go, yeah, I want off my meds. And so she cut the dosage in half for the first month. And I went back and retested a month later. And I was like 115 over 65. She goes, huh? She goes, well, let's take you off of it and see what happens. Was off it for a month, went back, and it was like 117 over 71 or something. I mean, it was just, she goes, okay, I guess we can take you off now. And then I had gone and seen another doctor who was more of a functional doctor and told her, and she goes, you're off blood pressure meds. I go, yeah. She goes, you don't see that very often. So,
Wow.
my stepmom had kidney disease and she was on dialysis. And once I learned that, it was like, I don't want to be there. So I'm going to do everything I can to get off of my blood pressure meds. And
Well, you're a living testimony. And truly, you guys, everyone who's listening to us, the only thing that she did different, because she was already eating well, she has already lost weight,
yeah,
is she started bringing in the omega-3. And if you were to go to PubMed or Google Scholar or the Physician Desk Reference, any medical journals, you can pull up omega-3 deficiencies and you'll see right there that high blood pressure sometimes is the result of a person just being deficient in omega-3. But the doctors are not checking for this. And I'm not here to beat up on doctors. I'm not. Because I understand, I have many friends and many clients who are physicians. They are not trained for this. It's not part of their training. They're not indoctrinated to be looking at omega-3 as a important health marker.
Right.
And it's very important. So thank you. I'm going to bring you back. If you don't mind, I'm going to put you back in the green room.
Absolutely.
Everybody, this is Sandy. And if you want to contact Sandy, her website, what is your website, Sandy?
www.coachsandysilver.com.
Well, there you go. Coach Sandy Silver, everybody, because she's got silver hair. All right, I'll bring you back. So when you look at this, okay, I just bought this book and I've been waiting on it. It just came out. It's going to be a national bestseller. This book is written by a doctor, and the entire book is about him exposing the whole indoctrinated education process for how people become physicians, and that it's to our best interest to become our own health advocate. Because if you wait on the doctors to help you out, and again, it's not their fault, it ain't happening because they're my clients. I have coached hundreds of doctors over the years, hundreds. Matter of fact, I've helped 23 physicians lose over 100 pounds. One lost 165 pounds, and they've all kept it off for over 10 years. So they want help. And I'm introducing them to the omega test. And they realize they can get an omega test, but oftentimes the code isn't there for them to actually like get it paid for by the insurance company. So they don't do it. And there's no real prescription that they're providing to people when they're out of balance. And they're not going to take the time to educate you on what it means to be out of balance when it comes to omega-6 to 3 and your deficiencies. So anyway, I want to go back to autism because there's a lot of kids growing up right now with mental health challenges. And I will be willing to bet anybody that every one of those kids is insufficient when it comes to their levels of omega-3. They are. And what if, and I believe so, but what if that kid who is suffering with autism, that kid who's having hard times focusing, all they needed was to be sufficient with omega-3? Think about, I have one of my clients, her mom has dementia. She is talking better. Many things are better as far as her cognition since she's been on the balance oil. And then my client took her mom off of the balance oil and she went right back to where she was. And now she's back on it. And my client says, there's no way for the rest of my mom's life, she will be on this product. This is real. So I'm going to bring on Susie Lopez, everybody. What's up, Susie?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Robert.
All right. Well, there's Susie Lopez. You can see her website. So Susie, I mean, there's many things that you could share, but let's start with the autistic child that you know has been using the balance oil, and then share any other things that you feel people would benefit from hearing about the benefits of balance oil.
Absolutely. Talk about kids being deficient in omega-3. And I'm just starting to work with, and I'd love to help more kids, autistic kids, or just kids with some mental health challenges. But this specific client that I'm going to be talking about, this is a 9-year-old boy who was diagnosed with autism when he was much younger, who's gone through therapy, was going through therapy, the parents were doing everything right for the child. But for whatever reason, well, we know now the reason, but he was going backwards. He wasn't moving forward. He actually started to become nonverbal. And again, he's already 9 years old. So I tested this young boy. And when you talk about kids being deficient in omega-3, omega-3 index, that's what we're looking at, right? Well, he was at 1.7% in omega-3 in his body. And his ratio was 45-1. So, I mean, if that's just one example, I can imagine, again, if we go back and we test these different kids, where they would be at. But this young boy, within about 30 days of starting the balance oil, not only did he start to like move his mouth and try to say some words, but he actually started saying words. So he became verbal again within a matter of a month's time. And so the parents are just overjoyed. They're sharing this with other friends and parents that are in the same situation, because they haven't done anything different. They didn't start him in some type of new therapy, or they haven't done anything different. It's just starting him on the balance oil. So I can't be more excited to share that with you guys, because it's just short of a miracle to me that this could happen in a short amount of time.
And share with everyone about what happened with your father's eyes. He had dry eye pretty bad, where he was, taking these, I don't know, these drops, and was really at the place where he was contemplating, am I going to be able to drive much longer?
Right.
Can you share that story?
Yes. So my dad had been struggling with dry eyes, and he just was using the usual. He was doing the usual lubricant, and then he had like an episode where we're actually on our way to my niece's wedding, and it was the morning of us driving to the up north, and he had to go into the doctors because he's like, "There's something wrong with my eyes. Yes, they've been dry, but there's something clearly wrong. Like, I can barely see. I don't even think I can drive." So we went in. It was an emergency situation, and the doctor just said, "Well, what you've been using is probably not helping you. So try this jelly type of lubricant," which did help. It did help, but he was having to use that every day. And so after taking the balance oil, within about month and a half of being on the oil, he didn't have to use anything anymore. He stopped using all lubricant, and his eye health is much better. So that's another story of someone taking the balance oil and it radically improving their health. So it's exciting
And,
stuff.
and for those of you who are listening, I want to be really clear, because this is not an infomercial. This is sharing with you information that most people they have no clue about. If and I think about it like this, Susie. So imagine, as a nutritionist, you'll get what I'm saying. Let's imagine you're on a panel, and let's go back 2 years ago. And you're on the panel, and there's other nutritionists up there, and dietitians and nurses, maybe some physicians and some motivating speakers. And someone on that panel says, one of our biggest problems is that we're deficient in omega-3. Imagine how you would have felt if they had broken it down, shared what we are all aware of. And here you are as a nutritionist wanting to help people and helping people, but you did not know the importance of omega-3 and that there was actually something that we could do about it. Wouldn't you have felt like, or at least I would have felt like, damn, I can't believe I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I've always known about the importance of omega-3, but there's not much you can do about it. As I was showing how to make fat burning meals, most people are not going to eat fish every day.
Right.
They're just not.
Yeah.
And we don't even have a test. So, how could I even know if what they're doing is working?
Right.
Whereas now everybody can do a test at home, boom, pretty quick. Then you take the oil. 4 months later, you take it again, the test, and you can see right there with the evidence that it's working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, personally, for you, what have you benefited from as far as taking the oil?
Personally, I mean, one of the things that I was struggling with prior to taking the balance oil is I work out a lot. So, this is just part of my life, but I started to notice that my left knee would swell up after workouts, especially after I would run. And that was really starting to become discouraging because, it's tough. It's hard enough to get to the gym or get to your workout and, muster up the energy to do it. But then when you have things that are discouraging like that, it was really starting to get to me. So that improved immediately. And I want to say within 2 weeks' time of me starting the balance oil, the swelling went away, the pain, diminished. That was the first thing I noticed. And then after that, I would say within a month's time, I did see my energy levels go up. I did see, I had a lot more mental focus, mental clarity. I felt like like the fog that we kind of feel sometimes was lifted, and I just felt like I could think very clearly. So I could see my brain, getting healthier in a sense. And then the biggest one that that I continue to talk about and I'm just really happy about is my skin. My skin's health has improved tremendously. And I've shared this with a lot of people, but I've had a condition that I've struggled with since my teens, and that's called keratosis pilaris, or otherwise known as chicken skin. And it's just like, little like, unwanted little bumps on your skin. It could be on your arms, it could be, on your cheeks, different parts of your body. And that's something I had struggled with. It wasn't pleasant to look at or to touch. And I just kind of like just dealt with it and lived with it. I didn't think I could improve it in any way. Well, the balanced oil, not only did it like completely improve it, but I actually don't have much of it left on my body. My skin's health is just so much better, very soft. I'm loving my skin. So I would say all of those things. I mean, it's like I can't say enough. Like I can't say enough because I'm just amazed at how much this like omega-3 has just completely impacted my life and my clients' life, my families, my friends, and just excited to talk about it.
Well, you guys, every Thursday we're going to be doing a seminar, and sometimes we'll give more attention to omega-3 and sometimes we won't, but we will always let people know about it. So if you know anyone that wants to use food as medicine, as an approach to improve their health, whatever it is, then we'll be here. So you can sign up for our newsletter. Links are provided, or you can go to my website, dietfreelife.com. If you have a coach that encourage you to come to this, reach out to them. They'll let you know. And if you want the balanced oil and the test, go directly to the coach or whoever told you about, this presentation and buy it through them. Okay. Buy it through them.
Yes.
Get started. And I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that you could ever do. It is, in my opinion, Susie, and I know you're probably tired of hearing me say this. This is the number one supplement. The number one supplement that everyone, I'm using the word need. Everyone, not a multivitamin, not I take this before my workouts, none of all of that. I'm talking about real solid health, like real. And I mean, the only thing that I'm not happy about is that I didn't create it. I'm serious. And what's cool is that the company it's a network marketing company, and they're based in Norway. They're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. They've been around for years. The transparency is amazing. The scientists I've talked to and many times, I've seen all the details, and now I'm seeing the results. So you can't make it up. It's in a bottle like this. And if you don't want to use the liquid, they do have soft gels. So I'm gonna play this little video, Susie, and you can talk to it. And then we're gonna bring on nutritionist and nurse, Miss Crystal Zola, everybody. But my daughter put this video together where the soda is symbolic to omega-6. This is what's causing a lot of people to be inflamed. And even if you didn't change your nutrition, which we always encourage people to change, by taking in the oil, which symbolically that would be the water, just by getting it in the first month, it gets into like the cell membrane, then it starts to get into your tissues, and then it becomes part of who you are. And then you get to do another test and you get to see that you've made progress. And as long as you're taking it, it's getting into your tissues. And as one lady took it for 8 months, and she had eczema for like 40 years, and her eczema is gone. One of my clients, her eczema is gone, and she's 71 years old, nurse Alice, and there's no more eczema. And it's funny, every time I have a coach call with her, I ask her every time, hey, did it come back? Because that just doesn't happen.
Right.
But if you go and look up eczema and omega-3, you will see that there's study after study after study that says omega-3 deficiency oftentimes shows up in eczema.
Right.
It's mind-blowing to me, like in a huge way. So Anyway, I just want to say thank you, Susie. And as you're here, as you can see, eventually it gets into the tissue, and then we're all good and everybody's happy, right?
Yes.
And the simplicity, let me show you. If you didn't want to do a gel, and I gotta make sure I slow down and show this enough. I use a shot glass, and I pour water in the shot glass. Now I'm stressing that because one of my clients today said, "Yeah, I mean, it's okay." I go, "What do you mean it's okay?" I said, "You use a shot glass." She goes, "Yeah," but she missed the fact that I said add water to it.
Uh,
And my little daughter, my youngest, who's 14, she forgot the water. So Faith was pouring and filling it all the way up to the top, the
oh,
oil, and she was doing shots. And I was like, "So, sweetie, how you doing?" And she goes, "I really want to do the oil, but I don't know. It's kind of hard." I go, "What do you mean?" And then she explained it to me. Poor little kid. she, she was drinking a full shot of the oil.
oil. Yeah.
Oh,
A
Lord.
lot.
Because she wasn't paying attention. I said, so you
Yeah.
get your shot glass, you fill it halfway with water. And then what I do is I'll take my bottle, right? And I've already measured 2.5 teaspoons. So I know inside of the cap exactly where to pour it to. So I pour it in there. And once I pour it from the cap, I just put it in there and the oil goes up to the top. And then I drink it.
Yep.
Done.
Simple.
No
Mhm.
crazy smell, no burp ups, no negatives.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, I'm gonna put you in the green room. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
put Susie in the green. We'll bring her back before we say goodbye, you guys. And now I'm gonna bring on nurse, nutritionist, and weight loss coach, the one and only Crystal Zola. What's up, Crystal?
Hello, how are you?
I am good. What is the weather like in beautiful Michigan?
It still feels like summer, but about a week ago we had some very cold weather, so you never know around here.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, kind of what comes to mind after you've heard us talk? I did a little bit of the presentation. Obviously, you know a lot about it. What would you like to share with those who have been able to listen in with the goal of learning and hopefully taking action and doing something for themselves as it pertains to the oil? What can you share with them that would help them have even more clarity?
I've been inspired by all of the stories that you and others have shared throughout the last 6 months, and so that was what kind of made me get on board with the oil as well, and also the fact that there's a test and we can actually prove that this is working or that people are deficient and that the supplement can work. For me personally, I had very, very dry skin, and it took about a week for my skin to improve, and then about a month on the oil for it to be pretty much the dry skin completely resolved. So it's been great for me.
Well, I haven't mentioned this publicly yet, but when I went away on travel for a couple weeks and I didn't take my soft gels, I forgot them. And I didn't have the oil with me. And I mean, I was like, huh? I was looking at my skin going, this is weird. Like I felt like my skin was totally drier compared to the way it is now when I'm taking the oil regularly. So I literally had that experience.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I jumped on board after or in between two of my vacations this summer. The first one, my skin was awful. Every time I go out of town, it flares up. And so that's when I said, okay, that's enough. I'm going to try this because, you put all these creams and things on your skin, but knowing what I know about nutrition and that you can heal your body from the inside out, I thought, well, why wouldn't I do that with my skin as well? So I got on board, and then we actually went to the same place again for vacation, and it didn't happen. I didn't have that dry, flaky skin that was, really affecting me. So it definitely worked.
I mean, as a nurse, you're a scientist, you're a clinician, like you have that mindset, right? So when I was talking to one of my buddies this morning, who's a physician and been a physician for over 30 years, I was telling him about what I'm seeing with deficiencies of omega-3. And at first he pushed back on me. And by the time we were done, he was like, actually, I think you're on. He was like, I think you're on to something. I go, dude, it's not think I'm on something. This is real.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's a customer. So he ordered a test today, this morning, and he got his first bottles on its way, and he's excited about it. So when you see physicians get excited about something that can help them, hopefully they put themselves in a position where they want to like share it and help others.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
for you, I mean, I've talked to quite a few nurses, and none of the nurses I've talked to told me that in their training, they were doing omega-3 tests.
Nope.
And all the physicians I've talked to, some are aware of it because they can order it. It's usually an extra fee, but not the way this is. And all of them across the board are very satisfied and happy with what they're experiencing. So we are on to something. And I do believe in the next 5, maybe 10 years, it'll become standard practice. And many people will be aware of omega-3 with polyphenols. Because every time I've done a test with someone and it was just a fish oil or omega-3, the test didn't work out good. It's with the polyphenols, and that's where the real science is. So
Yeah.
all of you listening, it's the polyphenols combined with the omega-3 is where we're seeing these amazing outcomes. So
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
with your go ahead.
I was just gonna say the ratio, like I was already talking to my clients about the omega-3 versus omega-6 ratio and how they can, excuse me, decrease the omega-6s and increase omega-3s with food, but knowing that most people are deficient in omega-3s, even though they try to increase their intake of it in their food. That was, something that really got me. Once I found out about this product, I said, well, this makes total sense because I already teach my clients about this. So
Right.
it really fits in perfectly with what I do.
Well, what's interesting, and I want to comment on this because you brought it up, is that we can avoid the omega-6s, right? The best we possibly can. And we're still going to get an adequate amount of omega-6. So that's not the problem as far as getting enough. As you mentioned, we're getting too much. So we teach people what to look for, how to avoid these omega-6. And then when you go to the American Heart Association's website, they're promoting oils that are high in omega-6. Yep. And even a gentleman named Bill Harris, who is a co-founder and creator of the omega testing back in 2004, if you listen to him talk, he will never talk about avoiding omega-6. And the reason for that is that he's on the board of the American Heart Association. And so as long as the American Heart Association continues to say omega-6s are good, and they do encourage people to take omega-3, it's going to be there, and it can be a little controversial, right? Because there's a hypocrisy tied to it. Mm-hmm. But the science is clear. And even in this guy's new book that I have, and if you look at Kate Hannigan, you look at her book, she just came out with a book called Dark Calories, where she goes into great detail about the negatives of omega-6. So I'm bringing that up because even if you avoid omega-6, everybody, you must get an adequate amount of omega-3. So just avoiding 6 is not going to change anything if you're not getting enough omega-3. Yeah. And the way the food is designed today, the chances of you getting it through food is really going to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Really difficult.
Yeah. And I was never, people would always ask me about taking a fish oil supplement. And until I learned about the balance oil, I always said, well, it's a good idea, but you don't really know if it's working. And so this is perfect to, get the test, it's working once you take your second test.
Wow. Well, that's good. And I know you just had a client drop like 50 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of her. She's someone who, when you tell her what to do, she's going to do it. And she was motivated. And yeah, I'm really proud of her. So she was done with the program, but she continued on because she knows that, she wants to continue that accountability. So I can't wait to see what happens. I think at this point, she just wants to maintain. So.
All right. Well, this is great. Okay. Well, if anyone has questions and you want to bring them up, we have a moment. I can answer them. Crystal can answer. Susie can answer. We can even bring in Sandy can answer. It feels like the Brady Bunch right now, but we can make this happen. We can make this happen. Any questions from those who are like tuning in? We got people from Florida, from Memphis, Alabama, Maryland, and for those of you who come in and catch the replay, we want to say thank you for being here, because the goal is to put everybody in a position where they can live their best and healthiest life.
Yes.
Let me see here. I want to show them for those who are interested. So if you want the product, right, then the most important thing, or the best thing that you could do, is reach out to Susie, reach out to Crystal, reach out to Sandy, or whoever told you about this presentation and what we're doing, or reach out directly to me, and then we can get you taken care of. And as you can see, the test by itself retails for $170. It comes with a comprehensive report that's about 22 pages long. The Balance Oil retails at $60 for 1 month supply. But when you start, you get the oil with the test for $109. And then after that, you're paying $42 a month for the Balance Oil. Most of the fish oils out in the marketplace that don't have polyphenols are selling for $80 to $110 a month. And there's no tests. So you want the test so you can see that it's working. No guessing. You want the test. So other than that, I'm going to move this. And if you don't mind, Sandy, any last words for those who came? Anything you want to share before we say goodbye?
No, I just wanted to say the blood pressure was the main thing, but I've had so many other great results with the oil. The dry skin, my hands used to bleed and they're like super soft now, and I'm off my asthma medication as well. My asthma, I don't have that inflammation anymore. So I can't say about the oil.
You know what's interesting, Sandy, is when you told me that about asthma, first thing I did is I went to PubMed and I said, I typed in, does omega-3 help with asthma? And there was multiple studies that said it did. And then I Googled, does polyphenols help with asthma? Multiple studies. So, and yes, you could eat fruits and vegetables and a variety of that and get the polyphenols, but you still got to get the omega-3s.
Right.
So it does help. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. There was also one question somebody had asked. They said they had severe fish allergy. So
Okay.
we need to let them know there's a vegan one as well.
So like if you have an allergy for fish, then there is a vegan version that's available, which means there's no fish oil in it at all. You're just getting the algae, which is where the fish gets the omega-3s from. And the polyphenols come from unripe olives, so you would just get that. So if you talk to any of us or reach out to whoever recommended you, or if you're talking to me, if you send an email, then we just share that with us and we can give you the right link for the right product. Susie, last words?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Ron Womack. I believe he's watching right now. He's a client of mine, and I've been working with him for close to a year. And I just really wanted to tell him I'm proud of him, because it's been a very challenging journey, and there's a lot of things that he's working on reversing, a lot of health challenges. But within the last couple of months, we are starting to make some real progress in a lot of these areas. And I'm just really proud of him, because he's committed and he's been consistent. And I know that now we're starting to reap all of those, all of the effort. So congratulations, Ron. I'm really proud of you. And I just wanted to just say thank you guys for letting me, share all my different stories. But that's why we're here. Crystal and Sandy, Robert, we're here because we want to help people. We want to help people. We know that not everyone is going to be able to, or wants to, can eat fish every day, can increase their omega-3s naturally. So we know that this product is going to be filling the gap for that. And we know it's making a huge difference. So reach out to me. I have my website there if you'd like to talk more or have any questions. But just thank you for having me on here, Robert.
All right. Thank you. And Crystal?
Yeah, just excuse me. Thanks for letting me come on, and thank you everyone for attending. And yeah, I've got my whole family on the balance oil, so I'm excited to see how that works for all of us, especially my kids, because I know that they, are deficient in omega-3s as well. And yeah, so thank you.
Well, hey, I have both my daughters on this oil, and they do not miss. Well, my 16-year-old does not miss, who's about to turn 17. And as the story goes, and I've shared, she has had menstrual cramps every month, pretty bad, some months really bad, since she first began her cycle. And since she's been on the oil, no more menstrual pain, no more menstrual discomfort. And when I share this with parents, and I know they have teenagers that are going through it, one of the things that shocks me continuously is like, why aren't you knocking me over to buy this product? If it can give your child that kind of relief, I mean, I don't understand people like that. Or if someone has stage 2 kidney challenges or stage 3, this is something that you don't play around with. This is real. You want to do what is necessary so that you can have quality life and things don't get worse. And I'll share with you guys in one study as we get ready to close, when they looked at omega-3 levels in people, they took groups of people who smoked cigarettes every day, and they had a high level of omega-3 in their body. So they weren't deficient in omega-3, but they smoked every day. Then they looked at people who don't smoke, but had low level of omega-3. Well, come to find out, they had the same life expectancy. That shows the power of not being deficient in omega-3.
Right.
And one thing, and I didn't get to test this, but one of my clients years ago, Bernardo died at 114 years old. So it's more of my friend. And when he was 113, I went to his house and I spent the whole day with him and I videotaped everything. And we went over like all the things that he had been eating, how he grew up from 1901 to where he is at that moment. And this guy, all the foods, I can tell you this right now, he was eating a lot of polyphenols. His favorite food was blueberries, which is very high in polyphenols.
Yeah.
And he ate fish every day. He was a pesco oval. Well, he was a pesco vegetarian. So he ate fish, didn't eat candy and all the other stuff that's out there. So there was no concern with omega-6. And the guy used, and he ate and he put extra virgin olive oil all over his body. So next time we do this, I'm going to show you guys a picture with me and him, and you'll see him at 113. He does not look 113. I remember when he was 113, actually, yeah, when he's 113, we were standing and talking for 2 hours. He didn't go to the restroom one time, and we were standing. And then he played this little trick that he would play with people. He would take a glass of water and he would hold it. Do you know? You want to take a guess why he would do that? Take a wild guess. Why would he get a glass of water and hold it for people?
I would say if you see water, it makes you want to go
Because
pee.
his hand
wasn't shaking, right? Because
his
he
hand
had
didn't shake.
yeah.
Oh,
My hand shakes right now. You know what I mean? It's like he would do that. I would go, man. And that was like his little like demonstration. One, I can stand up here and talk for 2 hours, not have to sit down, not have to go to the restroom. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody in their 80s, but they can't do that.
Right.
This man lived it. Olive oil was his friend, which is very rich in polyphenols, right? So you're getting that healthy fat, and we know all the other benefits that come with that. But it was just, it's amazing. And I always knew that there was some tie-in. So when I look at the way he ate, and I look at where we are in the world we live in today, I couldn't see him saying no to this oil. He would see the benefit because it's obvious and it just makes sense. So any questions? Anybody see any other questions out there? Thank you guys for all tuning in today. I hope you learn One thing I can tell you is that this is not going to change. If you're deficient in omega-3s today, you will be deficient in omega-3s next year. And until you do something about it, you'll be deficient. And what happens is when you have a deficiency inside your body, certain things are mounting up and compounding. And it's just a matter of time before some gene is expressed, and whether it's inflammation or some other challenge that is tied into a deficiency of omega-3. And I always think of like, macular degeneration. I think of eyesight. Cindy's mom can see things when they do her eye exams that she couldn't see before taking oil. Your dad don't have to put those drops in. I have 27 clients that used to have dry eye and they were putting drops in, and now all 27 are not. So when they were spending money on drops, now they're not spending money on drops. You see what I mean? You can't make it up, man. It is what it is. And our goal right now is just to get the word out, and we're pushing food as medicine, but we also know when a supplement is a supplement and it has benefits to it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Remember, reach out to whoever told you about this. Get your oil. Get as many people on it as possible. This is, how many times I can say 1,000 more times. It's the best supplement I have ever come across because it's something that everybody needs and everyone can benefit from. So,
Yep.
All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you. And if you want to share this with anyone, just give them the link. If you have any problems with that, just email me at robert@dietfreelife.com. I will also upload it on Facebook, and then I will upload the replay of this on YouTube, and then I'll give this to Susie, Crystal, and Sandy, and they will have it. So if they wanted you to see it, they can send it to you. All right?
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Hi, you too.
Bye-bye.
There's a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right.